start. Rumen, welcome. I'm very happy to have you here and that you accepted my request to talk about the Venus cycle. And you are not just a random guy from somewhere. You are an expert in your field, which is all about Babylonia. You are a well-read person. You have been studying on universities. You have been studying ancient languages, ancient texts. You have been doing translations, but you are not only well-versed in the theory of, for example, Babylonian astrology, you are also an astrologer yourself. So you are a man of theory and practice. So I'm very happy to have you.
Yes, I'm happy to see you. And I'm also happy that I hope many people will have interesting time watching this.
I hope so. So it's one of my favorite topics, talking about the Venus cycle and studying the cycle of Venus. And I myself have been studying Hellenistic astrology, but you are well read in a form of astrology that was even older, that is even older. So you have been studying the very beginnings of astrology, the very first texts we have about astrology. And I'm interested about what the ancient Babylonians thought about the Venus cycle, how they understood the cycle. And we know that the stories of the goddess Inanna, Ishtar, the descent of Inanna, Ishtar, has to do with the Venus cycle. But how do we understand the cycle, and what is the real underworld? That's my question.
What is the underworld?
The underworld, yes, because we have two occultations of Venus in her cycle, and you will hear that people talk about the underworld representing the interior conjunction, and other people think that the exterior conjunction is the underworld. So I personally can find or can argue for both, because both in some way, from what I understood, correlate with the story of Inanna Ishtar and her descent and ascent from the underworld. But I'm interested to hear what the Babylonians thought and what you think.
Yeah, well, every time when Venus becomes invisible, this means that she is in the underworld. So both times, behind the sun and in front of the sun. But there is a difference that when she is behind the sun, she is making transition from morning star to evening star. And when she is in front of the sun, this period is much shorter. And she makes transition from evening star to morning star. And when she is behind the sun, she can be invisible for maybe 2, sometimes even 3 months. And when she is in front between the sun and the earth, then she can be invisible depending on the geographical latitude. She can be invisible from 0 days to 3 weeks. And also depending on her cycle, where exactly she is, because she repeats her heliacal cycle almost exactly in 8 years. 8 years, she makes five times her cycle, which is, morning first, invisible behind the sun, then evening star, then invisible in front of the sun, and then again morning star. So this cycle repeats. When this cycle is repeated 5 times, we'll make 8 years minus 2 days. 8 years minus 2 days. She will repeat the same 5 points where she appears and where she disappears, but with about maybe 2 degrees back in the zodiac.
Yes. So Venus and the Sun create a 5-pointed star in the heavens.
I will show you diagrams so you can understand better.
Okay, I give you permission to share.
And this is very different cycles in this 8-year period. We have these 5 cycles, and each one is different. She appears in a different place with a different latitude, which is the distance from the ecliptic. So it is highly different. Also, it depends also on the geographical latitude.
So yeah, you are someone who pays attention to what you actually can observe at the place where are you looking from to the sky. So you are someone who is very interested in observational astrology and the real astrology, so to speak, the form that the Babylonians actually practiced. So they had these ziggurats, which are pyramid-like buildings, and the astrologers there were actually priests and priestesses observing what happened in the morning sky and in the evening sky. And that's different from where we are located. So in Finland, it's very different what we can see when we can see Venus from other parts of the world, because we are at higher latitudes.
Yes, personal observation of the sky is the main feature of Babylonian astrology. It is not something theoretical. It is something practical. Of course, there is also theory, but theory without practice is very, very shaky and does not lead to illumination. And practice observing the sky, and they observe the sky 24/7. They observed the sky. They had priests whose job was to observe the sky without pause, 24 hours every day, because not only the celestial phenomena were important, but also were important the atmospheric phenomena. Everything was important. In their diaries, in their astronomical diaries, they will mention even the prices, what is the level of the prices. They will also, the level of the prices was measured by what quantity of wheat can buy one silver unit. Also, they were observing the level of the waters, and they were also, if some strange events happen, for example, a fox enters into the temple of Nanar, they will put this down into the diary. So it was a highly ominous culture, which believed in the magic of the existence, in the magic of the cosmos, something that the Western civilization and by far the modern civilization globally has lost. Right now, there is no magic. There is just atoms, and the sun is just kind of Helios and some other elements which have some reactions, and this is absolutely material culture, devoid of any understanding of the deep meaning of everything. Because, you know, if you accept this worldview, which is the modern worldview, materialistic. There is no God, there is no divinities. Everything is material, and so if you accept this, then what is the meaning of some phenomena? Well, nothing. There is no meaning. But also something happens to someone. For example, someone wins in the lottery, several million, or somebody else has an accident, a serious accident, or someone is born with some horrible genetic disease. Or so what is the meaning of this? Can they tell me? No, they cannot. They say, well, this is just a play of random circumstances, so these people live in a world which is devoid of any meaning, a world of chaos. In contrast to this, the ancients believe that everything has its deeper meaning on several levels. If something happens to someone, be it good or be it bad, this means something, something deep for this person.
Yeah, they understood that everything is connected. So the above is connected with the below, the within with the without. And what we have today is we might actually look what our newspapers say, what the TV says. So we observe what happens on planet Earth, but we don't observe what happens in the sky. So we don't find the connection. Or some people might look at the stars, but they don't understand what happens on Earth. So you have to follow both and try meaning from it. And they are connected. There is meaning, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to understand how it actually works. So that what you have done, and I want to mention this because it's important, you have been translating Asian texts and the so-called astrolabe. It's a text. I understand there's this tablet, and then you have the actual what is it called? That piece of material. What is it? It's not clay, or was it on clay?
Tablet.
The tablet.
Clay.
It's
clay
it's a round shape. I actually have the book here. I got it yesterday from our library, and that's the book, the Babylonian Astrolabe. I just was reading it yesterday as much as I could, and I'm very amazed about the work you have been doing. So you have translations in this book, what the astrolabe actually says, and what the tablet says about the stars at the time, which were observed, and what happened on Earth. So as you said, they were really paying attention to what happens in the sky and what happens on the Earth. So yeah, this is just amazing, and this was done in cooperation with the University of Helsinki, and the well-known Simo Parpola was the director of the whole project. So
yes,
he's a astrologist from Finland. So you have been doing a great job, and I'm very happy to have the book right now, and I will read it. There are also a lot of calculations. So you're really a mathematician too, and that's what the Babylonians were. The astrologers were called mathematicians, if I understood it right. So they really did calculations. It was not just random, I saw a star or I saw a comet. They calculated also the cycles of the planets, and that is how they understood that the planets have a recurring cycle, and that when anything happened outside of that usual cycle, that was important. And that's yeah, how I think about the understanding of the Venus cycle and their stories about Inanna. So how did they first of all create a goddess, or how did they understand that the goddess, the feminine, is Inanna, and what has it to do with the cycle of Venus? Do you have any insights?
So can I share the screen?
Yeah, try to share. You should have permission.
Let's see. Yes, now I can share.
Wonderful.
So I will show you first the book here.
Oh yes, yeah, that's the book. Nice.
Which is,
now we can see it better.
Yeah, this is published in the academic stream in the State Archives of Assyria Studies. Very, very scholarly, serious. It is.
But it has pictures too, so it's not that dry.
Oh yeah, it has a lot of pictures, a lot of diagrams. It has also not only the astrolabe text, but also several other texts, which you will find in cuneiform, in transliteration, and in translation in English, and also commentaries, also explanation of everything. So in this book you can find also a lot of astrology, although that this is scholarly work, and it deals with some very technical aspects and linguistics, but also with myths, with mythology, with astrology, basically with the whole world view of the ancient Babylonians. And also there is a big chapter on the heliacal phases. Heliacal phases, which mean when a certain planet will become visible to the naked eye, and when will it disappear. And there is this chapter on this. There are several other chapters which touch on different topics. And yes, also there are some Greek texts from ancient Greek sources, which are very, very similar to what I discuss here, because the ancient Greeks, they also observed the heliacal phases of the fixed stars and of the planets. Well, at a certain time later in the Hellenistic epoch, this was lost. And they also lost their knowledge how to compute them. And they stopped observing, and everything moved to a pure theory. So because this is basically the fundament, the basis is the unity of the world, the unity of the existence of the cosmos, and the unity of the sky and the earth. That's why if we practice Babylonian astrology, we observe three things. We observe the sky, we observe the earth, and we observe ourselves. But this observation of the earth is not so much as to watch TV, yes, but to observe what is happening to your friends, to you, to your family, to people that you know, and look around yourself, what is happening around you by your personal experience. This is about personal experience, not something that someone decides to funnel into your head from the TV or from the newspapers.
Of course, there's a filter always.
But personal experience. So the heliacal phases are phenomena which happen on the sky, the appearance to the naked eye and the disappearance of fixed stars and of planets. This is something which is observable and which is a sign, a celestial sign. And we all know that actually astrology is the art, the science of reading the celestial signs. So if we don't observe the sky and we don't observe the celestial phenomena, then what on earth are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not about only observing, it's about, as you said, the translation. What is the meaning behind that all?
Yes, yes. The meaning of all these phenomena is actually not so difficult to be illuminated about, because this is just by analogy. Experience coupled with illumination, and the illumination comes by analogy. Like you see, for example, a planet is going retrograde. So what is the analogy here? Well, very, very simple. You go, for example, on some business, but then you remember that you have forgotten to take something with you, your diploma. You go to a business interview, job interview, everything is fine, but in the middle of the way you say, where's my diploma? Then you go back to get your diploma. That's it. If a planet is retrograde, in the field of this planet, there will be something that you must go back, you must reconsider. Something from the past will come again, and you must take care to fix it. So this is just one example. Or when Venus appears as an evening star. Okay, I will show you. Well, first let's talk a little bit, not get distracted by this diagram. So when Venus disappears on the sky, it's nowhere to be seen. What does this mean? Well, she's in the underworld. She's not in this world. She's in the with God somewhere. So what this means? Well, this means that everything which is under Venus will have some time, like a break, some time for reconsideration, some time in which all people must pay the last bills of their dinner, which they had in this. When Venus was visible, they had this majestic dinner, but now is the time to pay if they have not paid everything when Venus is invisible. Also, this is a time when some very, very old karmic connections in the field of Venus, which is relationship, friendship, will be revisited. Something very, very old karmic connections will come back. So if you meet somebody with whom you may feel like having a romantic relationship, and if you meet this someone when Venus is invisible, this someone is coming from your very, very ancient past.
So you're talking about past lives too.
Past lives, yes. Like, who knows from where? Usually, also when Venus is invisible, this time is not the best to start relationships.
So it's more for, as you said, reconciling and revisiting the past and everything that relates to Venus, which is also relationships and how we relate to one another in general, not only romantic relationships, but relationships in general. How are we interacting with other people?
Yes, friendship, harmony, that's all Venus is about. Okay, then let's continue. What is the meaning when Venus appears as an evening star? Well, first of all, what kind of divinity will this be? What kind of influence this will have? By analogy, it's again very, very simple. When Venus appears, she is being born. When on the day when she appears, this is the day of her birth. And she will be living for 9 months, which is the time when she will be visible. And also will be important which day exactly in the Babylonian calendar, which lunar day in the Babylonian calendar did she appear, which month, and which place, where in the zodiac, where on the horizon, because this is her passport. This is like the place where she was born. And then we have these five different types of Venus evening star, 5 different types of Venus morning star, depending on exactly where she appears.
In the zodiac.
And also, what means Venus evening star? Well, think or contemplate, meditate. What can this mean? Well, when she appears in the evening, which happens very shortly after the sunset, maybe 20-30 minutes on the temperate latitude. So when she appears in the evening, she is like she's the bringer, or the, how do you say, harbinger of the evening. Like she's starting to shine in the beginning of the evening. So she is proclaiming the evening. She's leading to the evening. And what is the evening associated with? Well, the evening is associated with party time, with the evening, and the night people go to listen to some music festivals. They go to cinemas. They go to night bars, to restaurants. They have nice time. There are parties. They go to romantic meetings, to romantic dates. They have nice time. The lovers meet in the evening or in the night. So obviously that's what Venus evening star means. So that's why she is, when she is an evening star, she is associated with Ishtar of Uruk.
That's her home city.
It is a city, yes, and which corresponds to Aphrodite. When she's evening star. Uruk also was a city which was famous with its artists, with its vogue, with its beauty, and with its beautiful women, and with its literature and everything, which also falls under Aphrodite. So let me show you the diagram that I have here. Okay, let's see, where was it? So this is here the Earth. This here is the Sun. In this circle, Venus goes around the Sun. Let's pretend that this is the horizon. This line here is the horizon. So when Venus is in her orbit, when she is here, she is rising before the sun. So she's a morning star, and as a morning star, she's associated with Ishtar of Akkad, which is pictured by a divinity with a lot of weapons. You see them here. And stepping on a lamb. So a very, very serious iconography here of Ishtar of Akkad, which is actually the equivalent of Athena. And like a morning star, she is heralding the day. And what is happening during the day? Well, the army goes to war, or the businessman goes to do his business. So that's why morning star Venus is associated with things that people do during the day. This is business, this is war, this is strategy, this is different works. That's why Ishtar of Akkad was the divinity of war, and Athena was the divinity of war again, and also of strategy, and of wisdom, and of all kinds of crafts.
So that energy is a very forward-moving, outward-moving, young, masculine energy, as in opposition to the evening star, which is a more feminine, inward-looking and connecting to the people.
Yes, and also Akkad, Ishtar of Akkad. Akkad was a country. Actually, it was very, very military kind of country, and that's why it was she was called Ishtar of Akkad, because Akkad was associated with military, with war, and Akkad was, very, very strong in its army and in its wars. Sargon the Great was actually the first emperor of Akkad in 2300 BC, and first he united the whole Mesopotamia, and then he also conquered a vast area around Mesopotamia, from Egypt and present-day Syria, Turkey, Iran, everything. So when you look in a chart, you can see if Venus is a morning star or an evening star. If Venus is close to the sun, then with an ordinary computer program, you will not be able to know whether she is visible or not. But if she is very far away from the sun, then you can safely say whether she is Aphrodite, evening star. Evening star appears after the sunset. Evening stars, they set after the setting of the sun, and morning stars, they rise before the sunrise. So you can see this. Of course, this invisibility periods with ordinary computer program you will not be able to see. In my computer program Placidus 7, you can compute and you can see the heliacal phases of planets and of fixed stars with algorithm which has been checked with reality. Because I must tell you that there are several programs which claim to compute the helical phases. However, if you make the experiment and compute the helical phases of, let's say, Mercury, Mars, because they're very difficult to compute, or a fixed star, and then you go out and look at the sky, then you'll see how correct these programs are. So
would you like to show us how the sky looks today and where Venus is in the sky? Because we are about to actually it's the time when Venus will be seen the first time.
Yes, I will do this. But let's first explain this diagram here. So what is happening when Venus makes this transition here, because she moves like this?
So she is the morning star in that diagram right now, and she is moving behind the sun.
Yeah, I mean, when she makes when she makes the transition from Athena to Aphrodite, from morning star to evening star, she is invisible behind the sun for 2 or 3 months. And here in Babylon, she was associated with this divinity, Ishtar. This divinity is a complex divinity. It is a divinity which is connected with sensual pleasures, with, for example, with sex. Ishtar is connected with this. She's connected also with magic, with healing, and she's connected also with purification and atonement of the sins. So I think that purification and atonement of the sins is in this period of invisibility, when she is between the sun and the earth. Because this is the transition from Aphrodite to Athena. And you see, Athena is love towards the divine world. And Aphrodite is love towards the created world. So, and also this transition up here, when she goes behind the sun from morning star to evening star, from Athena to Aphrodite, this transition here is transition from the spiritual divine world to the material created world.
Okay, so in that understanding, the morning star would be more spiritual than the evening star, although it's about war. Or how can I understand this?
Yes. I think Athena, of course, Athena is more spiritual than Aphrodite. Aphrodite is for this created world. She is love towards the created world. However, this may become a fixation, and people can sink into the morass of the material sensuality. And that's why in this transition between Athena and Aphrodite, here this is associated with the Gorgona Medusa. Because for a spirit to go to the material world, this spirit goes through this transition, through this transformation, which is not easy, and this spirit looks at him and finds that he is ugly in the material world, because the material world is ugly compared with the divine world. And that's why this phase here of invisibility behind the sun is associated with the Gorgona Medusa because the Gorgona Medusa is so ugly. So it's also, this is connected with the myth of the Gorgona Medusa. Gorgona was a priestess of Athena. And Athena is a virgin, and all her priestesses also must remain virgins. However, Poseidon had a crush on this priestess, and he started courting her. There are different versions of this myth. In one version, Poseidon rapes her, which is predominant in the modern culture. But there is another version which I think is much closer to the truth, and which explains a lot. And in this version, also Gorgona, the priestess of Athena, also liked Poseidon. So she, on her own will, had fun, had sex with Poseidon. And when Athena learned this, she was furious, and she turned her into Gorgona Medusa. So this deeper meaning of this myth is that actually, as you see here, Athena becomes the Gorgona when she goes into the material world. So when someone sinks into the sensual sexual pleasures and is fixated only on this, then this person turns into the Gorgon. It is not that Athena is cruel and not just, and in this horrible manner she's vindicative, and she punishes cruelly the poor priestess. This is not like this. This is completely another thing. It is this priestess. She made her choice. She did it, and she, on her own will, turned away from the divine world and got fixated on the sensual pleasures of the material world. And she by the rules of the cosmos, she transformed. This was not Athena that cruelly punished her, but this is just by the rules of the cosmos. So basically, what I want to say is that every myth, or almost every myth, has much deeper meaning on several levels. So the meaning of this myth of the Gorgona and Athena is just what I said. This is the fate of the people who turn away from the divine world and who are fixated on the sensual pleasures. And there is also this myth about Apollo and this satyr Marsyas. So Marsyas challenged Apollo in music. So he got what he deserved in the end. This is a long myth. Some other time we can talk about this. Eventually, Apollo won the contest, and then he stripped the poor Marsyas from his skin. He skinned him alive. Well, not he himself, but he gave orders, because these were the terms of the contest. Whoever wins can do with the other guy as he wishes. So he skinned him, and then they burned him, and they threw his ashes into the river. And again, someone can say, "Oh, what a bad guy is this Apollo." Well, this has a much deeper meaning. This is because the satyrs are the epitome, like they are the principle of the basic sexual drive in the males, the male basic sexual drive. That's what is the satyr. And his music is also like this. This means the meaning of this is that all these artists who are fixated on the sexual, on the material, on the sexual, and who believe that they are so great, that they are so great artists, but with their music or their pictures or all kinds of art shows their fixation on the sexual, this is their fate. They will be stripped from their skins, which means that they will lose their human reincarnation potential. They will not be able to be reincarnated as humans. This means the stripping of the skin. And then if the case is very severe, very serious, then their spirit will be thrown into the sensual element of the cosmos, which is the water. That's why the ashes of this poor satyr were thrown into the river. So that's the deeper meaning of this myth. And there are many other myths which, and also what is very interesting is that when we look at a chart, we can see which divinities are present there. For example, Venus, it can have 4 divinities: Athena, Pallas, morning star; Gorgona, Medusa, invisible behind the sun; then Aphrodite, evening star; and then this invisibility, the small one, when Venus is between the sun and the earth, can be associated with the Sphinx in the Greek mythology, because the Sphinx has wings. He is connected with the mental element because of the wings, with the air, and he is a guardian between the created and the divine world. So we can see exactly when we look at the chart: is this person Aphrodite? Is this person Athena, Gorgona, Medusa, or the Sphinx? So let me now, let's see how I can get out of...
May I ask you one more thing? You have the names Ereshkigal and Persephone in the exterior conjunction in that phase. That's clearly related to the myth of Inanna, the name Ereshkigal, which is the queen of the underworld in that myth. And yes. I was wondering where you start the Venus cycle. So if you think of Inanna being a young maiden, I personally always think of her as the morning star when she's young. She is young and bold, and she makes her first experiences in the material world. And then I thought that the exterior conjunction is the phase when she understands there's more than only the material world. There's something that I don't know. So she lends her ear to the darkness. She visits her sister Ereshkigal in the underworld. And then she is cleansed by that experience. She gets resurrected afterwards, after she has been sentenced to death. And she appears as the evening star. And I've always thought of the evening star more as the mature Inanna Ishtar, as the one who has experienced youth, womanhood, motherhood, and then being the old wise grown, and then closing her cycle when she goes retrograde and is between Earth and Sun, and then starting a new cycle. But how do you see the cycle of Venus and Inanna?
Well, I would start the cycle here when she appears morning first.
Yeah, the first visibility.
Yes, but here she appears evening first. So here is born Aphrodite, and here is born Athena. But where is the beginning? Actually, where we can start the cycle, I think we can start it in one of these points.
Yeah.
I would prefer this one here because of some reasons that I'll tell you later. Yes. So let's now. How do I get out of this? Where you
try ESC
how?
on your PC. Try ESC, the button on the left. Escape.
Control.
Only escape.
Escape.
Yeah, that's escape.
Nothing happens.
Does it work? Okay.
So you got me here. Let me out. Okay, finally, I got out of this labyrinth where you put me. So now I'll go to my program. So we can choose somebody here. Okay, who do you want to choose? Fidel Castro, maybe Stalin. Anyone, actually. Anyone. We need just anyone. Let's see.
What about Dostoevsky? Do you have his chart?
No.
Okay.
Well, what about John Kennedy? So now you'll see his chart in 2 dimensions. You can see the horizon is this one here, is the horizon. The meridian is this here. And you can see the zodiac. You can see the stars. Also, I can switch between Babylonian, which is this here. Let me annotate. Maybe I can.
So the fixed Babylonian is the one who that starts with 15 degrees Taurus.
Well, it doesn't. Aldebaran is in the 15 degree of Taurus here. Is fixed Babylonian. On the left is the tropical Ptolemaic, which is widely used in the modern Western astrology, and in the middle is the Babylonian tropical, which will put the equinox in the center of the first sector, of the first tropical sector,
which is Aries.
Okay, now let's see here.
So your program helps to understand the 3D world, the chart in the 3D.
Yes, we can switch here
reality.
To tropical one. We will get this here. And we can switch to tropical Babylonian. You see here, equinox is this point here, orange. Orange point, which is when he was born. This was in the 6th degree and 22 minutes in the fixed Babylonian Pisces. And this is the Babylonian. So you can see a lot of things here. He has, of course, his Venus here is evening star. And also his Venus is in the so-called heliacal phase, because above it is written EF -6, which means that evening first, 6 days before his birthday. Also, you see that his Venus is between the horns of the celestial bull, which is a very, very horny, very sexual, very strong position of any planet to be. So, okay, so he has Aphrodite in his chart here. His Mars is invisible in Aries. So invisible Mars is associated with Pan. Pan, you know, Pan. This looks like half goat, half human. So Pan. So we have here Aphrodite. We have here Pan. Of course, he has the Sun conjunct with Aldebaran. Very, very powerful position to be. The Sun is always Apollo. So he has a powerful Apollo. He has a powerful Aphrodite. He has also Pan. And of course, Saturn here in a day chart, very close to the meridian. He has very powerful Ninurta in the Babylonian mythology. Saturn is associated with this god hero called Ninurta. And Ninurta got back the tablets of destiny from the horrible creature Anzu. Anzu stole the tablets of destiny. And Ninurta, this is another myth that we can talk about this some other time. So we can see here the divinities, but you want to see for now. So I go to dynamic, and here I can change the geographical latitude. I can change the time, everything. So I'll keep it for 42 north, right? So I go to now, and here we have Venus with gray and with a cross, which means that she is invisible. But above Venus, we see here MF 4, which means morning first, 4 days after today, which is 16th of August. So on the 20th of August, Venus will appear as a morning star.
Is it your place?
For the latitude of 42 north. Okay, tell me what is your latitude?
60 something.
60. Okay, I'll put here 60. 60. Okay, refresh sky. Okay, she's invisible. I'll start moving with 1 week forward to see when she will become visible. Here, MF1. So it will be, MF1 means 1 day after August 23rd. So on the August 24th, she will become visible for your latitude.
That's beautiful.
So you can have a lot of things here. You can look, for example, at animation. So here you see all planets, how they, in what kind of heliacal phase they are. Look, then if you start moving this, you'll see how the planets will move.
Yeah, so, I see the chart and the table too.
Yeah, so now let's see when Venus, I'm moving back in time. Okay, so you see now Venus is invisible, inferior conjunction. So this is for this day here. So yeah, there are a lot of different ways to see this. Or here too. Here you can go to Venus, and you see here the different places of the heliacal phases. One more thing that I'll talk now is the so-called Venus pentagram.
Oh yes.
So you can see the pentagram from here. Pentagram of Venus, show set panel. So if we want to see the morning first, okay, we want to see morning first, good. So I'll switch to now. Okay, and now from here below on the left lower corner, I click the pentagram, and this will be the pentagram for your place, because it's so high in latitude.
So these are the heliacal risings.
This is evening first. Okay, I want morning
first. Yeah, that looks
morning first
more like a star.
Will look more like a star. Yes. So if I move, number one is in which cycle we are for this date. Right now is 16th of August. So number one means that we are in this cycle when Venus appeared here. And she appeared here on the 10th of January 2022. She appeared as a morning star here. Okay, but if I move the time with, let's see, I'll move until it becomes visible. Then you see how this number one jumps. Okay, right now Venus appeared and number one is here. So as you see, these points are with different latitude. So this means that every invisibility period is actually dependent on several factors, one of which is the latitude of Venus. For example, number two, so latitude is here, you see, 8 degrees 16 minutes. And this happened on March 12, 2025. Okay, let's go there. March 12.
So it's an entire synodic cycle of Venus.
March 12, 2025. We go here. Okay, look where Venus appears. Yeah. So then this is here Venus, and this here is Mercury. The one which is further away from the ecliptic is Venus. So if we move the time, yeah, it's we must, if we continue moving, then like 2 hours, let's say. Oh, that's because you're born so far north, that's why this is so strange. The horizon here is so strange. Okay, let's go back to something more normal latitude. So yeah, so you see, okay, let me show you something else. Now, if I move with, let's say, 4 8 years, with 8 years, for example, remember where is this apparition is in the head of Sagittarius, okay? Now, after 8 years, look where it will be. It will move
2 degrees
back
around
in the zodiac. You see how it moves? 2 degrees every 8 years. So it will traverse one sign in 240 years. And it will make a complete round in 1440 years. So also there is one place of the morning first Venus, I suppose here, you see, number 2 here. I suppose that that's here because when Venus is maximum north of the ecliptic, then she does not become invisible when she is between the sun and the earth. So for several days, she can be seen as an evening star and as a morning star. But this is only for geographical latitudes like more than, let's say, more than 40 degrees. Sometimes 35, but the more north you go, the more days you can see Venus at the same time, evening star and morning star, the same day. However, this phenomena happens only once in 8 years. And in such period was born the great artist Raffaello di Santi. So also the Venus cycle is connected with the ancient Egyptian calendar. So this is something that the Egyptologists don't know. Actually, nobody talked about this, but the fact is that because the ancient Egyptian calendar, it consists of 365 days. So there is 1/4 of the day left out. So for 8 years, it becomes 2 days. So this means that in the Babylonian calendar, if, for example, Venus appears on the 7th of Top this year, after 8 years, it will appear again on the 7th of Top. And also, this means something else, very, very interesting. Like only from the birthday in the Egyptian calendar of someone tells you his or her birthday in the Egyptian calendar. Only from this, you can know exactly what is his Venus. Is it morning? Is it evening? Is it invisible? And exactly where in her pentagram she is. Only from the birthday, because actually the ancient Egyptian calendar was absolutely synchronous with the Venus cycle. So, okay, look, I have some, like I think we can make a conclusion now and probably continue sometimes.
I would love that. There's so much to talk about.
So yeah, that's a lot of things here, very, very rich. You see. So,
Rumen,
anything to discuss in the conclusion?
Well, there's a lot to discover in the Venus cycle, and there are a lot of ways to look at the Venus cycle. You can look from various perspectives. You can look at the conjunctions of Venus and the Sun. and the Venus star from that point of view, but you can actually go out and look what it looks in your sky when Venus does appear. What is the heliacal rising? That is what you are interested in, what you are specialized in, and the program you have computed is absolutely amazing. I don't know any other program that actually can do that. And also, if you want to study how the cycle looks from different perspectives in the world, so that is a very nice tool to actually do some studies on the Venus cycle and real astrology, observational astrology.
And I can invite everyone who is watching this video to go out and observe the appearance of Venus as a morning star. For the latitudes around 40 north, she will appear around the 20th. And for your place, it will be several days later. I think for the southern latitudes like Australia, Southern America, I think that she will appear there. Well, we will talk about this later. But you can go observe this. My advice is that you check when Venus is exactly on the horizon, and then go out maybe 10-15 minutes before that. And also don't go exactly on the 20th. Go on the 18th, go on the 19th. And just to confirm first sighting. Because you can go on the 20th and you see her, but you don't know. She may have appeared on the 19th. So, do this. All right?
We will do this. Hey, Rumen, where can people get to know more about your work, your book, and your program? And your jewelry. You do talismans and all kinds of beautiful things.
That's right. Let me see where was that? Where can I share the screen again? You can. Okay, you can. Let me see. Go here somewhere. Okay, you go to Etsy, Etsy.com. Then you write here exactly as I write it, Apollo Vision with capital A and capital V together without space. All right. And did you mean the shop Apollo Vision? Yes, that's what I meant. So that's me here.
That's your page.
And you can see a lot of things here. Here is actually the Venus box, which is actually materialization of what I was talking until now.
Yeah,
so
and it has the eight-pointed star of Inanna ishtar on it. It's beautiful.
No, this here is the sun.
This is the sun? Ah, yeah,
yes.
no, it has the rays there.
And Venus is circling around the sun. So
inside.
Look here. This is the Sphinx. The
Oh.
Sphinx. Then Athena.
Athena, yeah.
Then the Gorgona Medusa.
Oh. That's beautiful, yeah. So you have the whole cycle of Venus put into that little box. The
That's
entirety.
right.
Oh my.
That's right.
It's beautiful.
So let's see.
You had the Venus star there somewhere too, I think.
Let's see here.
Do you make them yourself?
Yes, of course.
All of them. Wow, that's
it's
a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Handcrafts.
Of course, I also.
There's the star node.
I also employ some other people for some different things, especially if I don't have time. But the best is to make them yourself. So there are many different things here. This is the bracelet of of Venus. Again, the four, you see here the four divinities, and between them they are connected with elements which are different, and you can actually read this as a text. So yeah,
there's a lot of hidden mysteries and information in the symbolic depiction of all the divinities.
Yes, that's right. So let me also, if someone wants to contact me, they can do this by email, the best way. So my email is Rumen_K_Kolev at yahoo.com.
Okay.
You see this here?
Yes. I will also put all the links into the description box of this video, so it's easy to find.
Okay. So yeah, that's it here.
Yes.
All right. All right. So it was nice to have this conversation, and we can continue.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you so much for your time and all the knowledge you have been sharing with us for free in this little video. And I certainly would love to talk about Venus and everything else, Saturn, Ninota, dragons, whatever, in the future. I hope you join me again at some point. Thank you, Rumen, very, very much. And I hope you have a wonderful Venus morning star phase. And yeah, let's see what the future holds for us.
Good luck to you, and good luck to anyone watching this video.
Thank you, Rumen.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.